What's up, Phantom fans? My name is Jayden Simmons, and I am here to introduce to you guys a brand new series that we have here on Phantom called the Wrestling Wrap Up. As you guys know, I'm a huge WWE fan alongside Shane, Dakota, and Max here on the Phantom team. And, even though the podcast has been a bit slow, we're still following along with the wrestling content and want to bring you guys some more short form wrestling content to our YouTube channel. At the time of us filming this, we are just 2 days removed from the Survivor Series War Games pay per view, which came live from Vancouver. Had some great action, had some shocks, had some, controversy. One of the biggest controversies that I've seen on social media is the women's War Games match. And that's what I wanted to take the time and address here today. Now, for those who are unaware, the women's War Game match consisted of two teams going against each other in the iconic War Games structure. Those two teams were made up of a face team led by Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, Naomi, and okay. Those two teams consisted of a face team led by Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and Bayley, and a heel team made up of Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, and Candice LeRae. Now, of course, the biggest stories here being Naomi, who's the number one contender for Nia Jax's WWE Women's Champion, Bayley, who was her most recent foe, Tiffany Stratton, who's Miss Money in the Bank and kind of been Nia Jax's uh, been in Nia Jax's corner this entire run. We have Io Sky, who's the new number one contender for Liv Morgan in her Women's World Championship. Raquel, who's in Liv Morgan's corner. And then, of course, Bianca Belair, who's been feuding and trying to protect her tag team championship. And the biggest dog of them all being Rhea Ripley and her ever ongoing feud with Liv Morgan. Now, this Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley feud, it had so much potential at the very beginning. But honestly, at this point, I think that WWE's dropped the ball. It's gotten a little bit too boring, a little bit too predictable. And here's why. First things first, Rhea Ripley didn't need to be a part of this War Games pay per view, let alone, spoiler alert, did she need to pin Liv Morgan in this match? And here's my reasoning why. So when we had, I think that they really dropped the ball from the very beginning. When we had Rhea Ripley announce that she had gotten injured and had to vacate the title in the first place, Liv Morgan should have been the first person to win that championship. When they put the championship on Becky Lynch, I mean, it was great to give Becky another title reign, but Liv Morgan just made sense to win the title. She had her revenge tour going. She had come back from an injury that Rhea inflicted onto her, and her being the rightful winner of the championship just made sense at the time. She had to jump through a couple hoops for a few months to get to the championship. And then when she got the championship and Rhea returned, they kind of switched dynamics. And I mean, that's fine. Face and heel turns happen all the time in wrestling. But Liv Morgan made the storyline way more about Dominic Mysterio than about actually being the women's world champion. Of course, this leads to SummerSlam, where Dom turns on Rhea and helps Liv retain the title, kisses her, and that becomes the big thing of the rivalry. Again, makes sense. At that point, there's a firm heel face dynamic. But of course, Liv Morgan is a justifiable heel in which she's doing everything she's doing to get back at Rhea Ripley for injuring her. And that includes, the same dynamic of Raquel Rodriguez coming back and helping Liv Morgan because Rhea Ripley had costed her the tag team championships by injuring her partner. So all of this makes sense as to why Liv Morgan hates Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley also makes sense into why she hates Liv Morgan, as she's the one that took her title, she's the one that injured her, and she's the one that took her on screen partner in Dominic Mysterio. However, they made it very clear last month that this Liv and Rhea dynamic was going to extend a little bit longer when Liv Morgan and Raquel attacked Rhea Ripley in a parking lot and fractured her orbital. Now, of course, you can wrestle with a fractured orbital. Rhea Ripley came back and had the mask on, showcasing that, it shows how strong she is and how nothing is meant to hold her back. However, I feel like WWE dropped the ball by bringing back Rhea Ripley to begin with as a part of that face War Games team. And here's why. Going into War Games, you had the dynamic between Io Sky, who won the number one contendership match, to challenge Liv Morgan, and she'll be facing Liv Morgan at Saturday night's main event for the championship. You also had the dynamic of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill as tag team champions, trying to fend off Liv and Raquel, who are trying to challenge for those championships. Initially, you had Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Io Sky as part of those teams, looking for a fifth. Eventually, Jade Cargill got taken out. We still don't have the resolution for that, and that's when Bayley stepped in to replace her. I think that dynamic with Jade Cargill getting taken out and Bayley being the replacement still makes sense. But I think that it makes for a better story if instead of Rhea Ripley as your fifth, you have Kairi Sane as your fifth. Kairi and Io Sky are already tag team partners as part of Damage Control. That creates an inner feud dynamic with them being on the same team as Bianca and Jade while also wanting to have a shot at the tag team championships. And it also logistically makes more sense if Bayley is that fifth, it creates more tension. And that we saw the signs of distrust between Io Sky and Bayley inside of the War Game structure. Imagine that on a larger scale with Kairi Sane also being in that structure. You know, Bayley doesn't trust Kairi Sane as Io was the one that added her to Damage Control, and then they eventually turned on Bayley altogether. It creates a more captivating story. And so, you know, that's not what they decided to do. You had Rhea Ripley and the team not only compete, but you had Rhea Ripley's team win. And this creates a couple of problems to me. A, you just had a team with both of your current women's world champions, as well as your Miss Money in the Bank, lose in War Games. That's not a good look. It's like no matter how you slice it, that's not going to be a good look. And I mean, of course, you know, we had the other two participants with Raquel and Candice LeRae that don't really lose much from this, but the legitimacy of Nia Jax and Liv Morgan as champions looks pretty bleak. You have Rhea Ripley getting the clean pin, which makes Rhea Ripley obviously look like the top dog in the women's division. However, what does Rhea do next? Io Sky is the number one contender for Liv Morgan. Rhea Ripley just got this win, but where does she go from here? In my opinion, it would have made way more sense for them to hold Rhea Ripley out until the Royal Rumble, possibly giving her a Royal Rumble win, and that's how she gets her hands back onto Liv Morgan down the line. Rushing her back for the War Games match, just it was good. It was fun. It was a satisfying ending as a Rhea Ripley fan. But if Rhea's not going to be in the title talks from here on out, then what's the game plan? And if Rhea is going to be in the title plans from here on out, then what was the past 4 months of television of this rivalry if we're just going to keep seeing it? Overall, I think that the match was a lot better than people are giving it credit for, but it just creates a big rift and a big disconnect in between what it should be the biggest women's rivalry on Monday Night Raw. It started out hot, it had its high points, but at this point they're dragging it and dragging it and dragging it, and it's boring. There's no ideal route that you can take from here on out to make this a captivating story. My hope is that Io Sky captures the title at Saturday night's main event to kind of restore and reignite the feeling in the Raw Women's division. But as for now, I don't really know what the next steps are for Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, nor do I really care to find out. Well, if you guys agree, let me know in the comments below. And make sure that you are liking, subscribing, and checking back on Phantom's YouTube to see more continuous content that we're pushing out for you guys. This is just the first in several installments of wrestling related content I'm going to bring to you guys. So be sure to tune back in. Until next time, it's Jayden with Phantom Sports, and I'll see y'all later.